Gentlemen, we're back doing reviews. Knife reviews to be more specific. Today we're going over the CRKT M16. I've had this knife for about 2 to 2.5 weeks now. I've had, enough time to carry it around and play with it on a daily basis. And I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with it. This is the EDC version of their M16. So this is a tad bit smaller. And one thing I've learned about this is there are so many different versions of this knife, it's not even funny. There's, the larger version, which is the original M16. Among others, they have the M21 also, I think is what it's called, and it has a lot of serrations, and it's a little bit more grippy, I suppose, and they have a lot of different colorations and whatnot. I opted for the all black just because I like that, dark kind of, whatever finish to it. It looks good, I think. This one comes with these Zytel handle, and that is just like it's kind of I don't want to say cheap plastic, but we'll say inexpensive plastic, and it is lightweight. It's pretty nice. I mean, it's light, we'll say that. I don't know the exact ounceage, but I mean, it's almost unnoticeable when it's in your pocket. And that, that's a big thing. This thing is small for, I mean, you can tell in hand it's pretty small, but it is a sweet and very stylish looking knife. I'm pretty happy with it overall. It is a flipper, and that's kind of my, this is more or less my first real venture into flippers, because I've always been, kind of a assisted opening kind of person as far as those knives are concerned. But I mean, this one's manual, as you can tell. It just, there's no spring in it whatsoever. And after, a little time with it and watching TV and playing around with the flipper, it's pretty awesome. It has this actually this is pretty aggressive jimping on the back. I mean, it's pretty tough on there, but once you get the correct position for your finger and you do some practicing with it, this thing opens lightning fast, and I mean lightning fast. I'm super happy with it. It deploys really, really quick. So, in a pinch, or if you were fiddling around with it and just watching TV, you could just play with this thing all day, which is actually what I do with it. I fiddle around with it a lot when I'm watching movies or something. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's also very comfortable in my pants. No matter what I'm wearing, it's always comfortable. You could probably put that in your belt loop and it would still be comfortable. But anyway, semi-deep pocket clip. It's not too bad. I mean, it's going to show about that much, maybe those studs at the top, and that's really a non-issue. It's not like anybody's going to be scoping you out, but if they are, this knife is really small. It'll probably be legal in most states. Double check. This blade, if I'm not mistaken, is 3 inches. Let's see here. Yep, it's about 3 inches of cutting length exactly, so that should be legal in most states. But either way, check your state and local laws just to be certain. You don't want to get in trouble for carrying this, but it is 3 inches and about almost 4 inches closed. I'd say about 3 3/4, handle for, getting your hand on there. I gotta tell you, man, that feels pretty awesome. And you can tell just by the, I think I wear medium to large gloves. It's kind of hard to say. I guess it depends on the manufacturer, but this thing does not feel uncomfortable in the slightest. I mean, you can see there, my hands fit on this thing perfectly. And I gotta say, I think I saw another review on, M16s on YouTube, and I think it was Nut and Fancy. I don't remember who it was, but he was saying something about it, whoever it was saying something about it being a non-tactical use blade. And I think I disagree with that, honestly. I mean, you gotta look here. The flipper itself, once it comes all the way through, see it sticks out there for deployment, but then it acts as a finger guard down here. So once you got your hand fully on the knife, this thing really, I mean, it's pretty good, and that jimping really bites into your finger. You can tell. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but it definitely bites in there. So it's not like it's going to be, going anywhere. Your hand is on there. I'm locked in right now, and this feels pretty good. I have no complaints with it for that. But as you can tell, I mean, with this blade, it's got that spear point, a secondary grind up top here. You can see how it has that extra grind, and that's not sharp or anything, but they do that so it has more of a stabby type profile. So, for penetration and whatnot, this thing will just, I mean, it's a jabber for certain. And let's just see here. What we can do is get my hand on here. I mean, my hand's not going anywhere. It's on there, and you can tell just by the finger, by that finger guard, the flipper. My hand is not going anywhere. You see these little indentations, and that does not hurt in the slightest. I was gripping it pretty tightly. But, I mean, I was jamming this knife in here, you know, and nothing. Didn't slip in the slightest. I was not worried about my finger coming up here and getting cut. This thing, I mean, it definitely has a stabby, you know, grind to it, and I love it. I'm a fan. This thing is sharp. I use it, you know, cutting stuff every single day. Every day that I've had it. Now, one of the things that's unique to this knife that a lot of people seem to mention they may or may not like is this AutoLock. And what that is, let's get this deployed again. It's this little red lever on the back. See, up and down there? And what that does, you can see it moving on the inside here. See the little lever? That is some technology they got from CRKT, I suppose, that essentially, let's see here, this is a liner lock knife. And what that means is, you see the little jimping there? That's how you close the knife. You move that little piece to the side. So let's see, we move it there, and it folds down the knife. And for this little auto lock, this little red lever here, what that does is there's a little bar right here. I cannot move this lever out of the way. This knife will not close without moving that lever, and the only way to move that lever is to pull down on this auto lock. Right there, like that. So I have to pull down on this and push this to the side at the same time. And then I can close the knife. Now, some people don't like that. They're not crazy about it, but it really is a non-issue. Once you get comfortable with it and you've had it for a little bit, playing around with it, you use one finger and then push it to the side. One hand, it's closed. Quick deployment, done. Put away. It's really not, it doesn't bug me in the slightest. I was initially thinking that I was going to disable that, but I haven't had a problem with it. I actually kind of like it now. And the reason why is because CRKT boasts about how this locking system essentially makes this a fixed blade knife. And how that would work is, most liner locking knives, when they fail, like if you were to take this out with a stick and baton with it, like if you were going to bang, 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 bang on top of it, if you were banging hard enough, the lock might essentially, this little lever, the lockup, would move to the side because you're beating on it, and this thing would fail and close on your hand, or close in general and be like that. But what they're saying with this CRKT knife is that that little lever right there and that little inside piece, that doesn't happen here, because there's no way for it to happen. It's not going to move over because that little lever in there is blocking it from happening. So they're saying that this, you know, is a hard use style knife that you could take out and, you know, essentially beat up. I haven't tested this theory out yet, but we're obviously gonna, you know, get into that later on. So far, big fan. The steel on this is AUS 4, and to my recollection, AUS 8 is very similar to 8CR13 MOV, and I'm gonna attribute AUS 4 to being similar to like 3CR13 MOV. So it's not gonna hold the longest edge, but I mean, it came sharp, razor sharp as soon as I got it out of the box. This thing is crazy sharp, as you can tell, real sharp. I didn't touch it. I haven't touched this blade up at all, but very, very sharp knife. Let's see here. All right, now let's see what we got. Can you see that on camera? That is hair. So obviously that's not a lot of use. It could, you know, I could use this a lot more before it dulls, but either way, this knife is still sharp. You can use it and not worry about, you know, right away it's not going to dull after cutting a few pieces of cardboard and all that. Yeah, it's a nice knife. Big fan. I think you should go out and pick one. I think I paid $25 for this, and I really don't have anything bad to say about it. If you had to use it in a survival scenario, it's probably not going to be the best knife. Even with this auto lock, obviously it's a folder, so it will probably fail at some point. But, you know, in the everyday role, and if you had to use it out in the woods, not in a survival role, if you needed it for some sort of camp chores, I'm sure this would hold up fine. Obviously, we're going to take that out. The only thing I've noticed about it that I've needed to do so far was this little screw, when I got it, was a little loose. It wasn't loose to the point that it was, you know, going to rattle around or whatever. But I tightened it up just to, you know, make sure that it was in there snug and that the knife wasn't going anywhere, which also makes the flipper a little bit more difficult to open. but it also, you know, it makes it feel more secure. And one thing I'm going to say, I love these studs right here, these thumb studs. They are useless. Absolutely useless. You cannot open this knife effectively with these thumb studs. They're just there for, you know, I would say aesthetics, and primarily for this part right here. See how it has that little swivel there in the blade? It makes it so there's really absolutely no up and down or side to side play. So, oh, hold on, baby. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. But yeah, this thing is really, really awesome. I'm a big fan. I really think that you should, you know, go pick one up. 25 bucks on Amazon. Look it up. Let me know what else you want to see. We got more reviews coming. Thanks, guys.